She just wanted to buy a few things quietly. But when it came time to pay, her worst fear came true.
You don't have enough money?
Her son, standing nearby, started chattering away thoughtlessly. And in an instant, the woman's cheeks burned with embarrassment. She could only whisper, feeling mortified, that she didn't have enough money, and asked if she could return some of the items. However, the cashier stared at her coldly and silently, with no other choice. Emma had no choice but to reluctantly give up a few items. But when she was about to return her eldest son's snacks, the boy protested vehemently. Emma hurried to comfort her son, but he insisted that his snacks not be removed. Emma grabbed a different snack from the shelf behind her. Unexpectedly, the customers in line began to grow impatient and leave. At that critical moment, a kind-hearted man standing behind her in line volunteered to cover the difference for her, which finally eased the embarrassment in Emma's heart. When Emma told her husband she had no money for rent, she was met with an even more unreasonable demand. He actually told her to ask her mother for money. With no other choice, she dialed her mother's number.
Okay, Mother, I need some money. I need you to loan me some money. I really and truly need it, so will you?
Faced with her daughter's first ever request for money, the mother was momentarily speechless. But then her daughter shared some shocking news. Emma was pregnant with her third child, despite these difficult circumstances. Seeing her daughter's plight, the mother's greatest regret at that moment was her failure as a parent. Recalling the time after Emma was born, her life had been filled with worry ever since. She would always stay by her bedside. Her husband had passed away from illness. The two became each other's sole support. Faced with the intense pursuit of admirers, she wasn't immune to the flutter of attraction. But thinking of the emotional burden it would place on her daughter, she quietly abandoned any thoughts of remarriage. As Emma grew older, the mother's care gradually turned into shackles of restraint. Adolescent rebellion and arguments became a daily occurrence, and a rift began to spread like mist. Emma even secretly pledged her life to a penniless young man behind her mother's back. From her mother's life experience, the young man had a weak character and a lack of responsibility. He was not someone worthy of entrusting her daughter's future to. But Emma, in the throes of her rebellious phase, was blinded by love. She would not tolerate a single harsh word about her boyfriend, and refused her mother's request to attend the wedding. Perhaps when people are deeply in love, they tend to overlook the value that family brings. In a rundown rental apartment, they held a simple wedding for just the two of them. 3 years have passed in the blink of an eye. As married life unfolded, Emma's rebellious streak had long since worn away. She had become a full-time housewife and given birth to 2 children, yet her life was far from happy. Jack always used work at the school as an excuse, but what he delivered was a financial situation where their income didn't cover their expenses. They couldn't even make ends meet for the most basic necessities. Whether it was Jack's indifference or the daily financial struggles, Emma was in agony. It wasn't until this moment that she finally understood her mother's heartfelt advice from years ago. Just as she reached this darkest hour of her life, Jack's behavior grew even more outrageous. Now he wouldn't even come home at night, claiming only that he was spending the night at school. This unusual behavior made Emma keenly sense that something was wrong. But when she confronted him, Jack simply claimed he was too exhausted from work and had slept overnight in the library. He even tried to change the subject to distract Emma. That day, when Emma returned home, she didn't see her husband taking care of the children. So, with a heavy heart, she went to the school and happened to catch Jack standing very close to a strange woman. This made Emma furious. All her previous suspicions about Jack had now become a cold, hard reality, shattering the last shred of Emma's illusions about her marriage. So she took her 3 children and returned to her mother's home. Seeing Emma appear out of the blue, her mother was both surprised and delighted. Emma, like a wronged child, threw herself into her mother's arms, and the emotion she had been bottling up for so long finally burst forth. Yet the wheels of fate are always full of challenges. During a routine checkup, she suddenly discovered 2 lumps growing under her armpits. When the results came back, the diagnosis of malignant tumors struck like a bolt from the blue, instantly crushing Emma. She couldn't believe the outcome, and refused to accept that fate could be so cruel. When her mother learned of this devastating news, she felt an indescribable pain in her heart. As the condition worsened, her mother cared for Emma, while also looking after their 3 children, yet Jack remained nowhere to be found. In the days that followed, Emma could only rely on medication to prolong her life. But the cruelest truth of life is that some detours are unavoidable, and some truths can only be seen after hitting a wall.